What's up, everyone? Welcome to a Love Like That podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
And I'm Jacqueline.
Thank you guys for coming on. Listen, we are excited. We have a great podcast going on today.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I really am. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, look. We all excited, right?
It's
We all
going
excited.
down.
Jackie brought some great friends of ours to come on to the podcast today. And babe, go ahead and say how we got to this point with this today.
Okay, y'all, honestly. And I didn't even tell y'all this. But fresh off the press, this couple, like when I came up with the name of the podcast, I was actually writing on y'all's like a anniversary post on Facebook.
Wow, that's crazy.
Dead serious. And I know I never said that. I was like, because we're going to get into that. Like, we've had conversations.
Right.
And so I've seen the growth and, when you were online, I know who was, the whole good guys thing. So it was just important to have you guys on because, like I said, I was on the anniversary post and it was like I literally was writing a love like that or you don't see a love like that often because that's real, honestly. And kind of just the temperature of the world and everything that's going on and looking around when you see a couple that really kind of exudes that love and not from a perfect place but an intentional place. Like, hey, we did some work to get here. Like, it just didn't come together. Like, we had to make some shifts to get to this point. Sure. But it really seems like, wow, other people can see that y'all have gotten to that point.
Right.
So that honestly, we've had those conversations. We've always kind of like, hey, okay, Rashae, well, what do you think? Or whatever the case is. So it was really important because I told him that. I was like, hey, babe, like a love like that. Like a love like that. Like, what do you think? What do you think? He's like, I think it could work. And I was telling him, I was like, I was on my Neo's post and,
that is
such
so
and
crazy.
such. And, I've watched her and her husband throughout the years. And, I know, where they started, et cetera, et cetera. And it really, you see so much of what not to do and not to say, hey, this is what you should do. But, like, let's shine a spotlight on couples who are really out here being intentional and really out here trying to get it right. Yeah. Really trying to level up in each other and with each other. So that's why it was important.
I love that.
Important for you guys to be here. So even I did that introduction, but we gotta hear who you guys are. So I'm gonna turn it over to the man of the house.
I am Dominique Prater. I'm here with my beautiful wife Rashae. We are glad to be here, honored to be here.
Yes.
We haven't really had an opportunity. A lot of people say we love your story, we love everything we've seen about, but we've never really had an opportunity to share it and to actually sit down with her, with you all. It's an honor. We appreciate you all looking out for us, like just to have the chance to say something like. We're happy about our love, so we want to we want other people to be happy about theirs too,
Yeah,
I love it.
For sure. Yes. Well, he kind of introduced me, so
yes.
That was a wonderful introduction. But yes, I'm Rashae. I'm super excited to be here. Like Jackie said, she's known me for 10 plus years now, and just to be able to be in a space like this with like-minded people is just something that we've always wanted, and here y'all are almost 11 years in, we're 6 years in, just to be able to be in this space feels good, so I'm excited to talk about whatever is about to go down at this table. Look, wherever this takes us.
She's like, yo, bring whatever, we with it. We with it. All right, well, okay, well, great. Well, listen, I think let's go ahead and just get into it, okay? Listen, so since we have you guys here, tell us, how did you meet? Look, give us the see what had happened was story.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start. So we met at Fort Valley. So 2009, we have a difference in opinions of how we actually met, but what I remember is freshman year, I remember his best friend went to school with him, but she was a female, and so her and I became friends first, and she introduced me to Dominique. We met a couple different times the first couple weeks of school. I remember us having like a moment in the caf where we were kind of like talking, and I was like, okay, this guy is funny, you know, like he was just super, super cool.
Yeah.
Then we had another moment where I'm very competitive. So I mean, literally very competitive. So he was staying, I think, in Watson. And I used to go home all the time on the weekends, but this particular weekend I stayed at Fort Valley, went over to Watson with some of my friends, and we played spades. And I'm, like I said, very competitive.
I heard the word competitive in spades.
Yeah, so spades is a big deal for me. And I said, okay, he was like, he wanted to be my partner.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can he play? You know, like, I'm like, I need to know, can this man play? Because I don't like to lose.
Okay.
So the moment that I really, really felt like I got to know him was on the spades table. We played spades in Watson. And we literally beat everybody the entire night. And I said, okay.
You guys ran the table?
We really did. So I said, okay, this is a guy, you know, I can hang with. So that was like our meeting moment. And from there, I mean, literally, I think we kind of have been nonstop since then.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't really deny any of that information. It all sounds just about right, you know. When I first saw her, she had on like a black dress, the little BB glasses. I was like, ooh, like who was that with that little swag? Yeah, but she had the glasses.
All the details.
It's the details.
That's important. That's very
Literally
important.
all the details.
The details now are still important to me. Like, so and for her to continue those details now, I'm like, yes, like she still got it. But even then, like her coming to Watson, us playing cards, me seeing her, she don't like to bring this part up, but on the dance floor is another place that we really connected.
Okay.
We didn't really at Fort Valley, for some reason they had like 2 weeks where you couldn't see any girls. It was very strict. Like, but after that, it was like a little party where everybody got to meet up and connect with the opposite sex.
Right. We free.
Yeah.
Right.
So we was in this little party and Chopper Style came on Chopper Style, and she had this little double bounce, and I was like, ooh. I got to get behind her. I got to get behind her. And after that, like, it was just like, let me stay behind her. Let me stay with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. Okay.
But that was interesting though, because although I met him, I had a boyfriend at this time.
Whoa,
now.
Yeah.
Wait, tell the story, Rashae.
Whoa, now.
Story.
So he was like, you know, I had a boyfriend that I had been with all throughout high school, and at that point, you know, you feel like, oh, I'm gonna be with my high school sweetheart for the rest of your life, you know, just kind of young and dumb type deal. So I never really, I enjoyed him. Like, he was a super good guy, like super friendly. So I had the most fun with him than anybody, you know. But I had a boyfriend, and so I never could really position myself or see him in the light that he saw me, because I had other stuff going on, you know. So it was one of those deals where it took me a very long time to really be able to appreciate what he was bringing. It was a lot. Like, he was one of those guys, he knew what he wanted, and I was like, I'm in Fort Valley, I'm having fun, I'm, you know, kind of doing my own thing type deal. So we went back and forth for quite a while, I would say, because I was not on the same page as him, is what I'll say.
Okay.
Yeah, so navigating that was definitely something that took some time. But you know, we've always, one thing that's always remained the same is we've always been best friends. Like, he's always been my best friend through all of my craziness, his situations and things like that. Like, we've always remained friends, and I think that plays a huge part in how we are, how we've been able to get to where we are today. Like, we are truly friends, and I think that's something that people really miss in relationships. Like, you have to be friends outside of just, you know, like, oh, I like this person, or
Right.
I think this person looks good, or oh, you know, I want to be married. Like, you really have to have a solid foundation, and I think us being friends provided us like a good foundation, you know, of course with God, to be able to really grow, you know, through all of my issues.
Not just you. I mean, everybody has issues.
All through the evolution.
Yeah, exactly. It's at the evolution. Sure. There you go. I like that. The evolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't it just sound like such a familiar story? Like, no, seriously, it was like I was the problem child. Like, you know.
I was definitely
we're not in denial, you know, we're reformed and such.
I think what it was, but I would say though, I think, you know, had it not been for me having the vision and understanding what you were.
Oh yeah.
None of it would have happened. It was on me to put it out there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what was on you, is for you to put it out there, and for it to help, for it to manifest, and for it to actually create itself and to evolve. So I ask you this. So was it, because I know you said he's a good guy, he's a great guy. What was it? So was it the fact of like, okay, you know, he's a good guy, so you know it's cool, it's whatever, or was it you just weren't thinking about it?
Yeah. So it was a combination of things. I remember Dominique is just a very, I want to be clear when I say good guy, because you know it's a lot of good guys. You know, like people can be a good. Clear. When I say he was a good guy, he did more at that time, like what I imagined of a guy. It was very unfamiliar what he was doing for me, even at, this is 10 plus years ago, you know, like he was very attentive. Like when we talk about details, he would see me and send me like a text message and like tell me about my outfit, like down from the type of glasses I had on all the way to like the color of my toenail polish. And I'm like, how is this man remembering or even paying attention? Like it would be very detailed. I mean, I could share a story with him. He would remember like dates, and like he was just very, very attentive. And so when I say a good guy, it's not like he just did good things for me. It was almost too good to be true type deal. I used to tell him like, look, like I remember taking some time from him because I said I need to make sure I'm not like caught up in this like
what you do for me.
Yeah, like what you do for me, because I'm like, this is almost like too good to be true. Like, is this for real? You know, like I'm like, is what you're doing, is this for real? You know, and I remember telling him like I don't want to be caught up. I mean, he did a lot, but I could say now 6 years into our marriage, he does a lot for me. Like, you know, like, and not to a point where it's just who he is. Yeah. You know, he loves me and he shows it in his actions all the time. But back then I couldn't really process it like that because it was so unfamiliar to me, you know. And I had my own agenda at that time. It was kind of like one of those deals. I was young. I was still having fun. I was focused on other stuff. I'm trying to be a Delta. I'm trying to, you know, like it was a whole lot of things going on at that time. So when I say good guy, it was more so me just trying to make sure it was real, you know, like for me. Not necessarily what he felt, but I had to feel it too. Right. You know, so outside of, you know, him being very detail oriented and making sure he remembered dates and stuff like that, it was one of those things where I wanted to make sure it was, how can I say it? I guess I just wanted to make sure it was real. That's
being genuine. She wanted to know about being genuine. My dad told, ain't nobody that nice.
Yeah. My dad literally told me that. He like
that nice, and that's real. Like, I'm with Pop. I love her Pops. You know what I mean? But that's a real statement. Like, hold on now, you saying this guy's this nice? This can't be.
Yeah, I remember my family like, what he doing? What? You know, like it was unreal to them as it was to me. And so navigating that was definitely a interesting time. But what I can say is he never changed. He never wavered. You know, and at some point I had to tell myself, like, this is possible. Like, guys can show you who they are and you can believe them. You know, we live in a time where, you know, guys will do something for a certain point just to get XYZ, whatever you want to say XYZ is. Right, you know, and then after that, it's kind of like a switch flip and now it's a totally different guy, or they get what they, you hear so many different things, but he's always been true to who he is, you know. And so once I really allowed myself to open up and accept that and receive it, because that's the biggest thing, you have to receive it, you know. I don't think I was receiving it. It was kind of like I was going through the motions and I knew it was happening, but I didn't really allow myself to receive it until later on. It took a lot of different things happening, but you know, it eventually happened.
So what was it where you said, okay, he's the real deal? What was that moment where he's the real deal?
Yeah.
He is him.
So I graduated.
Hold on now. It's undeniable now.
Oh my goodness.
It is. Hold on.
Look.
I am for real now.
Look, he's like, I am him. I am him.
So what I'll say, I graduated in 2013. When I graduated, I moved to Orlando for my job. Nice. I remember moving there. We tried to date and do the long distance thing. So he's in the military at this point. So he left Fort Valley. He goes off to the Marine Corps. He's there. I'm in Orlando. We try to do this long distance thing, and I'm just kind of like, I ain't really feeling it, for whatever reasons. I don't even remember all the particulars, but at this time, I'm just not. The long distance, me being in a different place than him, he trying to do the military thing. I just was like, I don't see myself as like a military wife. Right. So I just couldn't really see it at that time. So then fast forward, I moved to North Carolina again for my job. So I'm kind of making different moves from state to state. Dominique is still there. I mean, literally, everywhere I go, he's there. Like he knew what he wanted, and I moved to North Carolina. He ends up being stationed in South Carolina. So now, literally, we talking about a borderline. Yeah, like we talking about a borderline.
An hour or two tops, if anything.
Yep, I remember going to North Carolina, and Dominique called. I don't remember if he called or texted me, but somehow at this point we weren't really communicating, but I think I reached out to him and just told him, like, look, it was like on some I miss you type deal. I don't remember the details, but I reached out to him. We started talking. I remember Valentine's Day coming around, and it was a rough patch. I think I had dated other people and stuff like that, so it was definitely rough, like us kind of reconnecting, because he felt his way about certain things that I had done. I had bounced around a couple times, but long story short, he told me he was going to be deployed for 9 months. And I said, okay. And so it was kind of like one of those, I won't say he gave me an ultimatum, but it was kind of like, look, Rashae, I'm not bouncing around with you no more. Like, it's either you doing this or we not. Like, I need to know type deal.
Is you or is you
exactly.
ain't?
It was kind of like that. Like, it was kind of like, look, like you need to decide what this is, because I don't want to continue to waste my time. And so I understood exactly where he was coming from. And so I remember just praying really hard, y'all. I was like, okay, I know how he makes me feel. I know who he is. Like, this is my best friend. I know I can't envision a life without him, So I remember feeling like that. Like, I can't really see my life without him. What do we do from here? And so he had a little bit of time between him being deployed, and we just hung out. Like, it was like nonstop. I went to go see him. I'm like, look, I really felt like at this point, I want to try to make this thing work, So I remember going to South Carolina. We spent some time there. And eventually, March came and he had to leave for deployment. And so Dominique proposed to me right before he left.
Wow.
Yep, he proposed. Yeah. And I remember, like right before he left, and I remember, his family. Right. His family did not like me, y'all. They was like, oh, this girl, she do dog you, she dating other people, they just could not really understand. Rightfully so. Like, I get it. And I remember going to see his family, and I kind of told him, like, look, I want to do this with your son, your nephew, whoever. I remember talking to his family.
I don't mean to, but
go ahead.
This is important. She went down there without me.
Yeah.
She went down there to meet, and it's a lot of women in my family. Strong.
Respect.
I love all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Strong women in my family. She went down there and talked to all of them by herself.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's tough. You tough.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did.
Oh, that's a real one. That's a real one.
So at that point, he proposed, and y'all, I said yes, and I mean, literally, it's been nonstop since then. I mean, I understood at that point, like, I've made my decision. I prayed hard about it. He was deployed for 9 months. I mean, he was figuring out all kind of tricks to make sure, like, we was communicating the whole time. I got really involved in church, and I remember just kind of keeping myself occupied, communicating with him, and that was a really, really good time for us, because I mean, we talked about everything. It was like that 9 months, he was like, look, why did you do this back in so and so? Like, we were really able to talk about
almost like therapy.
Yeah, literally. Like, we talked about all the different issues, how I saw things, how he saw things. He was able to see my viewpoint, I was able to see his. When he came back, I mean, literally 3 months later, we was planning for a wedding, and here we are now. Like, yeah, like.
So pause for the cause real quick. I just look. I feel like my man Noriega. That's gonna get a hand clap.
Yes.
That's for real. That's for real. Okay, all right. Enough of the Noriega stuff. Right? This ain't Dre Champs. But no, seriously, though, I think that seriously, I applaud you for that. That shows a lot of growth and it shows a lot of maturity.
For sure.
To come to that understanding of yourself and about what you need to be for him and what you need to do to make sure his family understood.
Yeah.
I'm not only with him, but I know I'm for him.
For sure.
And that's
for
important,
sure.
though.
Yes.
So then my question to you is, outside of the double bounce that you saw at the party, what was it about her that made you so dedicated? So determined?
Rashae's vibe still gets me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the way she carries herself, the way she looks at life, the way she sees positivity in things. It's a different aura than a lot of females, you know what I mean? And then we have sports. She loves sports. She loves music. She loves the things I love. So the simple connection stuff that a boyfriend and girlfriend, we had that was easy.
Yeah.
But seeing her as this forever, like, I can see that she's really this person and she really brings that to the table. And not to mention, there was a time, she mentioned we weren't rocking and everything was a little rocky. So I prayed. I was like, God, if she's not for me, don't let her come back. Don't let her come back. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm confused. I'm so confused. Like, I don't. And let me tell you how this got to be God. Because the next day, we hadn't talked in probably 2 months. We ain't said nothing. Next day after I prayed that prayer, she sent me a long text. I was like, oh, here she is.
Listen.
Here she is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. So I'm hearing you say all of
Me
this.
too. I'm triggered.
I'm hearing everything that you're saying
I'm
here.
triggered.
And I don't know if I want to call it triggered. However,
Well, I have a different.
I will say, I understand.
For sure.
So it's like, remove it. Like, I'm trying to figure me out.
Please.
Yeah.
I can't think without her. You know what I'm saying? I can't really think with her. So just make it clear.
Right.
And it was, and I'm not lying. I put my hand on it. If we had a Bible, the next day she texted me a very long. We had a conversation. I was like, man, I guess you're here.
I guess you're here.
So we had a situation. I think we may have talked about this on the podcast before. I can't remember, but it was like summer 2010. I just got in my relationship with this one girl, and I go up to Chicago with Greg. Right, we go up to visit with this family. We're on the way back down. I mean, I had a great time in Chicago. Fun time, whatever case. So I'm on my way back down. We hadn't talked in we talked whatever cases, but it had been probably 6 months since we last talked, whatever the case is. But it just was whatever. I had been done with her since 2008. I was like, I'm done.
Right.
Done.
Done. After I crossed.
Done. After she crossed, she was the worst. Oh,
She was the worst.
Listen, look.
That's when you became the problem.
Oh, look. I was like,
So now you know.
Okay,
Right.
you got too many googly eyes.
Right, listen.
I go back.
Look. Went down to the probate and everything, man. But yeah.
Front row, you know what
Right,
I'm saying?
exactly.
Big balloon.
Look. Right, look.
All that.
But I went over at your house and said, we just had a moment over there. Okay, so I was like, it's just, I don't feel it no more. I said, I think I'm just done because I'm just tired, man. I'm done with this. It was just done. But last, we had communicated before, hung out before, wherever it was, But I was like, okay, I'm just being just to be a friend, or whatever. I'm not whatever. I'm done. On the road back to Chicago, to home from Chicago, my boy's like, man, you need to. I was talking about all my issues with other girls I've been dating, who I was trying to get with,
right?
Trying to get with, or whatever the case is, because I had a whole agenda. And so he's like, man, you need to get back with. You need to get back with Jackie. I said, not a chance in hell.
Thank you, Greg.
July.
Thank you, Greg. Greg, my man.
July 2010.
Mm-hmm.
August 2010. She calls me. I think she just went on some bad date or whatever the case is. And so she's like, Brandon, wait, is it me? Is it just, I don't know what it is. And I'm just like, I really want to be like, yeah, it's you.
Right.
I'm salty. It's always been you.
Right. Nasty, bro. No, seriously. But, so, just listen to her, and then, I don't even know how, but we decided to meet up. I was like, man, let's go ahead and just meet. I'll meet up with her, whatever the case is. Okay, I'm going to, blah, 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 blah. but the way she was just talking, it was just like, it's something different.
It was different,
For
yeah.
sure.
And it's like, dang it, this is not how it's supposed to happen. And then we went out again, and I tell this story though, but seriously, we went out to Apache Cafe, and actually Grace's brother was there doing spoken word that night.
He
actually.
was. He did.
But when I say it's respectfully. When I say like the baddest chick, I mean the baddest chick walked by me. Jackie's here. I'm here. It's literally how we're sitting. Girl walking by. She's walking by. I'm looking. Look at her. I'm looking. Look at her. I'm looking. I'm still looking. Look at her. I was like, you know what?
I'm good.
That's exactly. I said I'm good. I was like, you know what? I'm good. I was like, well, that about done did it. Literally, that's the guy. God was like, you were good. This is it. And I was like, man, this is it. It's like, dad. So that's how I knew. So like you said, you know, when you felt like you were like completely like move it, and then for her to, that's how you know. Like God gives it to you when you feel like you're like at your end.
Yeah.
Almost. And so for you to have that though, that really that says a lot though. So when that happened, when you got that long text, like what was like, how'd you feel about that?
Unbelievable, like right. You know, man, this is game. You know what I'm saying? I know you.
Right.
You good. You
Straight
know, like,
cap
you're
right
really
here.
Right.
Right.
Cap. I don't even say that, but that was super cap. You know what I'm saying? Like no way.
Yeah.
Then she was like, you know, it really hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I really got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, show me. You know what I mean? I really told her, I was like, you gonna have to show me, because I ain't really with it. I don't know if you.
Right, we've already been here before.
Yeah, like, you got me already. You know what I mean? So really show me. And Rashae popped up like in Buford. She stayed. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing nothing. I ain't paying for nothing. And she like, don't worry about it. I'll pay.
He was giving the cold shoulder for sure. Like, he definitely was giving the cold shoulder.
Same night though, I can't even lie. Same night we was smiling. There was a lot of people in our face. How long have y'all been married? We really ain't together. But,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they could feel the energy, and other people could see it. You know what I'm saying? It made me look at her like, I really am smiling for real. You know what I mean? Like, let me check myself. Like, God brought her back for a reason. Like, let acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Ease up. And then by the end of the night, I know I had eased up, because I couldn't. You know, after a while, when you with that person, you can't help it.
Right.
It's just like, all right, you got me. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when she said it hit her like a ton of bricks, she really was saying that God spoke to her like, you got what, like you said, you got what you need. You good.
Yeah.
And for her to feel like that, and for me to feel like that at the same time, I feel like that's, why not that? You know what I mean? Why even try to keep looking out? Let me outsource. You know what I mean? No, there's no need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So was that the moment when you said, okay, I know I can spend the rest of my life with her, or what? Or was it sometime later, or was it sometime earlier?
I felt like that, but when after that, I was like, okay, you know, I'll probably propose soon. She don't know, but I'll probably propose. But even at the proposal, I was like, I still got questions. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I wasn't, you know, all the way 100% like Rashae's gonna be perfect for me. I had questions. And so when I asked her to marry me, those 9 months we was on the boat, we asked like she said, we asked real questions. Who was this? Who was this? Why was this? Doing like, why you do me like this? Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, I felt like this, and I wanted to, and it was real. Like, laundry was really aired out at that point. Mm-hmm. And we talked for 9 months straight. Like, I was on the bottom of the boat, sweating. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not even supposed to be on the bottom of the boat talking for an hour, but I was talking on the call collect phone. Like, I really wanted to have a conversation with her at any moment. Like, let me know how you feeling. Yeah. So I can know.
Before we get to the office.
Yeah,
sure. Exactly. Before.
I need to know all that stuff. Are you sure about me? Am I sure about you? Mm-hmm. Is all that stuff clear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's not clear, then we have an issue, because we're gonna deal with that later on. So if this stuff is, and it's gonna be issues, like, regardless. But let's not have the dirt under the rug hinder us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny he says that. So I remember, like, that 9 months, I focused so much on making sure we had a successful marriage. I remember, so my mom is like a interior decorator. Like, she takes like event planning and stuff to heart. Mm-hmm. Like, she loves it. That's her passion. Mm-hmm. Cool. She took on planning our wedding. Like, during this 9 months, from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, this couple's getting married. It's time to get into wedding planning, right?
Yeah.
For me, I understood what we were up against and what I wanted marriage to be for us. And I think, you know, we were kind of like the same in our thinking. Mm-hmm. I could care less about the wedding. Like, I literally the wedding planning, thankfully she took over that, because literally, y'all, when I say I did not care, I would like a nice wedding, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But that wasn't what was important to me. And I remember people would ask me, like, how's the planning coming? How's the, my mom would send me messages like, look into this. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like literally, like, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody tell me, like, you just don't, you're not really bothered by the wedding. And y'all, you see people talk about, like, I want to invest more in my marriage than a wedding. Mm-hmm. But I really took that to heart. Like, those 9 months of the engagement for us was really us saying, like, look, we're engaged to be married. Yeah. We need to really make sure this is real. Like, we need to talk about everything, because this is the stuff that's going to get us through. Like, I need to understand you need to understand me. So those 9 months were very, very critical and important to me. And I almost find it a blessing to have had that 9 months of him being deployed, because I think when you're face to face, I didn't want it to get like misconstrued with like the physical aspect, and you can kind of get lost in going on dates and all that kind of stuff. Like, literally all we had was communication. Like, it really boiled down to like us talking. Right. It wasn't based on anything else but that, and so I think that's an important part. Even in our relationship now, our marriage now, the communication is so important, and I think that 9 months really framed what communication looks like for us, so I appreciated it, it was tough.
It takes evolution, though, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't talk to her the same way I talked to her on the boat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We had different conversations about how we need to converse. Yeah. But speaking on that boat lets me know that I can talk to her about absolutely anything, like the real of the real, the dirt of the dirt. Yeah. I can talk to her about that, and we can really have a conversation and come to some type of common ground. It's always not about a solution, but it's about, like, let's see how we can move forward and how we can either heal or how we can fix something. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's tweak something so now we can see how it works for us. Yeah. For us, and that's really the biggest thing, like how things work for us, because everybody else don't matter.
Yeah, that's real. I always say, a highly functioning marriage a successful marriage is when you have two individuals with high functioning conflict resolution skills. Yeah.
There you go.
If you have that, everything else takes care of itself. Mm-hmm. So what would you say was the evolution of your conflict resolution skills? Did you feel like you guys had that already, or is this something that you guys just kind of grew into? Because I'll give you guys more time for that. I say because I think I came into our marriage with that. Yeah. And I think Jackie,
and I had to grow into it.
Very much. Very much. Yeah. However, but she has grown into that. Right. And I think it takes someone, even if you both don't have it, someone needs to have it in order for it to whatever.
And I think that even connects back to kind of what you were saying, like about being friends. You know, I think at some point it's like, I'm not going to do my friend like that. Like,
exactly.
You have to tap into the friend aspect at some points when you just kind of want to tap out of the other roles. Like, okay, let me just sit in this. Like, let me just be in the friendship at this point and just exist in that role. So it really is critical to be friends. Like, to really be able to connect outside of the husband and wife aspect or the mommy and daddy aspect, but this is just us at this point. So
that's important though. So I would say, what would you say was it for you? As far as the conflict resolution aspect, was that something that you guys just evolved into, or was it something that was, you guys had it there?
I'll start.
Feel free.
So I think, going into our marriage or just even our relationship, I feel like have been pretty level-headed, right? So like, when situations come up, I'm very like solution driven. Like, I want to know, what is the issue? How can we fix it? Mm-hmm. I'm not very like argumentative, so I don't want to argue with you. It's just like, look, what we need to do, you know? Dominique was very like, no, we need to talk about it. Like, we from beginning to end, we need to talk about it. in the beginning of our marriage, I didn't really understand the importance of talking about everything. I kind of felt like, look, we know what the issue is. Let's just figure out how we're going to move forward. You know, he was more so like, no, we're going to talk about it because every detail matters. And this goes back to him being very detail oriented, right? So that taught me, like, even though I feel like I can move on, in reality, I can't. Like, that was a learning moment for me, because even just being like a child and growing up and stuff, I would remember things that kind of was just swept under the rug, right? Yeah. Like, you know, things would happen and it was just like, you just move on, life goes on type deal. And so I came into our marriage kind of feeling the same. Like, you know, things happen, you roll with the punches and you move on. Dominique comes from an upbringing where they talk about everything, right? Like, it was conversations they would have as a family that I'm like, what? Y'all talk about this? You know, like, it was that communication piece that he brought to me that I was not really aware of. And that for me really taught me why it's so important to communicate and really being able to talk about something from beginning to end, so that you can figure out what is the conflict, like why are we bumping heads, right? And then from there we can talk about exactly what happened, and now you can come up with a true resolution versus just sweeping it under the rug, figuring out like a temporary fix, because that's what it was. Like,
fix the issue.
Yeah, fix the
and
issue.
Let's move on to the next.
Exactly.
Because there will be other things that come, but let's
so I think we both had like a conflict resolution. We wanted to be able to, I guess, resolve conflict. But our approach to doing so, I think mine was kind of wrong. Like, I just wanted to sweep things under the rug and move on. Yeah. He was like, no, we're going to talk about it so that we can get to the deeper root of the issue. So I can say that we both had the desire to resolve conflict. We had to figure out how, as a married unit. Like, every conflict resolution looks different for different people. You know, like how y'all resolve conflict may be different from us. For us, I mean, it's been nights where we've stayed up for 8 hours, y'all, like talking. I mean, literally, I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed, you know, know. But he's like, no, like,
don't care.
Like that's literally him. Like, no, like we'll be out in public, y'all. You know,
I love that.
He's like, I don't care what is going on. We're going to get to the bottom of it, you know? And so now, 6 years in, it's better for us to, like, now I can say, look, baby, you know, this is not that big a deal. I get, we need to talk about it. We'll talk when we get home. Now we've navigated, like, is this serious enough to stop what we doing now to deal with it? Or is this something like, hey, we can talk about this when we get home. Like, you know, we might have been out, something may have happened, I ain't like it, you know? So now it's like, I need to holler about you, you know, holler at you about that later. Now we know when to turn it on and off. But that was super important for us to really be able to know how to resolve conflict within us. So
that's very important.
That's
very important.
For sure.
I talking about staying 8 hours. What was it, about 2 weeks ago? I don't know how long ago it was. It was like, babe, it's 4 in the morning. It's 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I gotta be up in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Right.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, so I'm trying to answer a question, but I'm really trying to go to bed because I'm like, okay.
But it was that
and
unsettling feeling.
Yeah, but she turned over. I turned over, and 5 seconds later.
She still got
so I was like, oh my god. Right. Like, let's not do that. So yeah, that was. I get it though, because I'm like that. It's like, yo, we need to get this thing sorted out. But she's very much like, yo, I need to say it out. But what she'll do is that she will repeat the same thing over, because like that grinds my gears. Because like, why do you have to go over the same thing? But she has to process things differently.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to pack my patience with that in order just to let her sort it out and to understand it. I'm like, okay, just go ahead. You're gonna repeat this like 5 times. Internally, I'm gonna get pissed. Yeah. However, I'm not gonna let you know that because I know.
Make sure.
So I will say, I think that's where we are kind of flip.
Yeah.
So he's the repeater. Like he's gonna say it. Yeah. He's gonna say, and I'm like, babe, I got it. Like, I heard you. I have learned he wants to ensure that I understand. So if we're in conversation, if we're conversing,
I get that. That's
and
great.
I'm not showing him signs of like
comprehension.
Like I have to reiterate, like, baby, this is what you said. This is what I received. I got it. Because that's the only way he can feel like we can move forward. You know, he has to really make sure I get it. Me, on the other hand, I'm not really like that. It's like I said what I said. Look, we moving on, you know. But that's how we work. You know, that's our difference.
Yeah.
So I've learned to understand and respect that in our communication. So now I know if we have an issue, he might say it 6, 7, 8 times, and I just have to show him or explain it back to him what I understood or what I took from it, so that he understands that I got it, because that's important for him. He wants to make sure he's heard, and he wants to make sure, you know, I get exactly what it is that he's saying.
My biggest thing, like, even she does it at work though. You know what I'm saying? She done had a long conversation at work. Okay, these are my takeaways. You gonna say all the same stuff, but I need my take. I need to make sure you got some good takeaways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Some quality takeaways.
Did you have good takeaways?
Yeah.
Because now, like, I know that moving forward, you either ignoring that stuff or you're actually putting it into practice that you want to fix that stuff, or we're moving on the stuff that we actually discussed.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't, then we losing.
Yeah.
And I don't like losing.
Facts.
Yeah.
I don't like losing at all.
All right. I love it, man. The competitive nature.
For sure.
It shows. It shows.
Yeah.
It shows. I love it. He's like, I took that personally.
But why not? Why not be competitive? Like, I know we were having a conversation not too long ago about we got one life to live, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so if we have taken a vow to, hey, like, we're going to partner up this life thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
we're
we.
going to do life together. Then why not try to exceed?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the video games and all of that. I'm trying to get to whatever the highest level is with this person that I have partnered up with to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah.
So if
And
there's
have
something,
fun.
that's what I'm saying.
Fun.
In that rest of my life, like, I'm not just, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna have to just go on in my shell. No, like, I want to be able to thrive. In that life. So the rest of my life, you be able to thrive and be who you are in that life. And we really be able to be transparent with each other moving forward.
And that is
with that,
that's
I mean, what can we not conquer? What can we not, like, I'm trying to exceed. I want to be at the top. Like, oh dang, there's nothing else to do, because every day is going to be a lesson. Like, we getting better every day. Like, as long as we can catch those lessons and really be intentional about each other, then we always going to be leveling up.
The thing about the whole being yourself or whatever the case is, I think was really real. I think that was the shift for us, was the fact that I talked about it, I know, on the last one, but really the fact of I was so enamored and so in love with her that I never wanted to make her mad. Like, I always wanted just to make her so happy.
No, that's a big piece.
And because of that, I think she almost took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, you know what? At one point, though, I was like, you know what? If I can't be happy, whatever, I'm about to say what I need to say.
Yeah.
And you about to get this work.
Yeah.
If you need to get this work.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then we understand, but because of that, I think she understood it. She respected it. And we were able to really just make a team out of that, though. Yeah. So that's what it was. Now, on the competitive side, I will say this, though. We are very competitive to the point where we cannot be on separate teams. We have to be on the same team. We have to be on the same team. Our first tee is, we went against each other in games.
Look, you go home mad.
I'm like,
a few taboos gone wrong.
Look.
And it'll be like up there, and they'll be like, okay, y'all,
that's me.
Next,
that's me.
Because I'm like,
I'm going in.
I'm going in, but I'm like, okay, I ain't thinking. I'm like, that's my wife. Like, she's not gonna like go. No, she goes.
Yeah, like no.
But I'm like,
take no prisoners.
But then again, take it personal. I'm like, you sure you want to do this? Because
now we already know each other.
Slapping every joker.
Right now, when you get this, you're gonna be in your feelings. And I'm like, I tried to tell you. I'm trying to tell you so.
I will say I'm very classy in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? I don't never rub it in, but I let her know like I'm a winner.
Yeah.
She knows that.
My goodness, look, he's trying to start now.
Look,
he's like, I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Right. To talk about what you said, as far as like never wanting to make her mad, right?
Yeah.
That, I think, and we kind of talked about this before, but that was a huge deal, I think, in the first, like, I'd probably say 2 to 3 years of our marriage. I think that's the place that he was in. Like, he didn't want to upset me, you know, even now, like, he hates when we're on bad terms.
Yeah.
You know, like if we just not vibing, or we had a conversation that was kind of rocky and we just kind of not, you know, our normal selves, he hates it. And I remember when I realized that what happens is that's at the expense of him having to just feel whatever he's feeling just to satisfy me. And once I really process what that means for him, that means like he's just bottling up stuff, right? Like stuff is just like he's just holding stuff in. He just like letting it go, or trying to, because you really don't let it go. You just holding it in.
You gotta be the bigger man.
Yeah,
right?
you know, and I think he did that for quite a while. So when I really understood exactly what was happening, I started trying to create a space where he could say what he needed to say to me, because that was important to me. Like, I never wanted to be in a marriage where he felt like he could not be free. You know, like to say the things that he wanted to say, or feel the things that he wanted to feel. You need to go.
Yeah, my biggest thing was it took a conversation though.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this stuff, but it take the man to really say that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I really sat her down. I said, "Baby, I spoiled you."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even.
He said that.
Like I haven't got off half of the stuff I want to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I was shocked, y'all. What do you mean? Like, what you talking about?
I'm really hollering at you right now because I can't take it no more. Like, like you were really acting spoiled, and I know you're not this person. Like, but you were taking advantage of everything that. But it take a man that to see like, okay, you don't want to be walked over.
Yeah.
But y'all, I didn't know. That's the thing.
You didn't know
not
what you didn't know.
Exactly. I didn't know. You know, like
my mouth was shut.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it didn't add up to anybody being happy.
I didn't know. And so I finally told him, I said, look, I don't care if what you're gonna say is gonna upset me. I said it's gonna be some times you're gonna say something I don't like. You know? And I said that's okay. Like, I'm woman enough and adult enough to know that my feelings can be hurt, you know, like it's not gonna be peaches and cream all the time. It ain't gonna be, you know, it's just hunky-dory all the time. So I said, if you have to say something that hurt my feelings sometimes, I said that's the nature of marriage and relationships, period. I mean, even with my friends, you know, I'm like, sometimes we gotta have some real hardcore conversations. I don't like what you're doing, you know. And so if I'm doing something to you, one, you have to let me know, because if I don't know, you can't fault me if I don't know. And that's what I told him. I said, so we struggled for about a year trying to really process his new way of expressing himself, you know, and I wanted to allow him that space, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to be able to communicate with me, and I want you to give it to me raw. But I also said, you know, this is for anything. What I hopefully have shared and helped him to learn is that even in delivering tough messages, it's still a way to do it, right? You still have to be tactful. My intent is never, if I have to share something hardcore with him, I don't like the way he's doing something, I'm not coming out the gate like, oh, I ain't like the way you did, da-da-da-da. You know, I have to really process, like, I want to be able to say stuff to people so they can receive it. It's no good in me expressing myself and really giving you the blunt truth in a way that you can't receive it. I always tell him, I don't know if y'all watch the Cosby Show.
Oh.
Y'all.
I grew up
I love the Cosby Show, right?
Grew up on it.
So there's an episode.
I literally have it on the original VHS tape.
Y'all, I love the Cosby Show. I will watch it over and over. The example that I gave him one time as we were navigating this is there was who was it that got married on the show? No, it was Lisa. She got married. She brought this guy home.
Oh, Martin.
And she was telling them that she was getting married. And so Bill, the Huxtables, was trying to understand, like, okay, you brought this great guy here to us.
Dabness, Vanessa.
Yes, there you go. Yes. And so he's like, you brought this great guy here, and he's great. But you delivered, he was like, what's your favorite meal? So he's talking about steak and potatoes and all of this stuff. But he's like, you delivered it to me on a trash can lid. You know?
Not that appetizing, is it?
Yeah. He's like, it's a great meal, but I don't want to eat off a trash can lid. And so I told Dominique the same thing. I said, what you're delivering to me could be good, but if you're giving it to me in a way that I can't receive it, it's no good. And so that was a big part of us communicating and learning how to communicate, because you can deliver harsh messages, or not necessarily harsh, but you can deliver sometimes messages that may not feel the best in a way that the other person can receive. And so that's something that we really, really strive to make sure we're doing in our marriage. Like, if I have to share something with him, I want him to receive it, you know?
Yeah.
And the same for me. I'm like, look, you know how I feel about stuff. You know who I am as a person. When you're sharing a message, like, make sure it's in a way that I can receive it so that now we're not talking about something that doesn't matter. Now we're talking about the core of what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really big for us.
That's real, though. I think that's something that, I know I've worked on. Part of it is because I didn't want to upset her, but also I know myself. I would say I'm a nice guy.
For a reason.
I'm a nice guy for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I know myself. I know where I come from.
Yeah.
And so I try my best. I've been very intentional about always making sure I give the best. Because I know my words can you know, everybody says the words are cut, but I know my words are.
They get sharp.
Yeah.
They get sharp.
And I've had to let the clip loose a couple of times, and it's
Yeah.
not the best result.
and
However,
you can't take it back.
exactly.
That's the thing. You
well,
can't
that's the
take
thing.
it back.
Well, that's the thing as well. Yeah, you cannot take it back, and that's the reason why I think with Jackie and I always tell her, you know, we used to get into it, and she used to say stuff. I'd be like, "You sure you want to hold on to that? Because guess what? I'm gonna make you honor that. Because whatever, if I say something, she understands. If I say something, I mean it. Because I'm very serious about.
Yeah.
You cannot take back what you say. So I was like, if you hear me say it, please understand I meant that.
Yeah.
So like I
you
meant
feel
all of
his
that.
words.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Please understand I meant that.
Oh,
but because of that, I've understood because, you know, like I said, I never want to upset her, but also I'm like, you know, I don't want to upset her because I like peace in my house.
Exactly.
And I cannot stand it when it's not peace. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I hate it when you mad because I don't feel
Yeah,
good.
it doesn't feel
It just don't feel
Yeah.
right or whatever the case is. Like, I just don't like that or whatever the case is. But yeah, having to stand up and having to just talk is like, yo, listen, you just got to be pissed.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is. You know, once it was a couple years ago, whatever. I don't know. She was going through something. I was like, what is it now? Listen, she was like, fine, I'm going. I was like, please go. Like, please go. Go. Like, you can go upstairs and be about your business.
Right.
Just bye.
Right.
She came back down. She said, babe, I must really be bad if you're saying that. And I was like, yeah, you are. But it was like, you know, but it helps us to understand where we need to be and having that transparency to just say it though.
Yeah.
And for her to say it to me as well though. Like I said, if I'm not holding up on my end of the bargain about certain things, you know, I need to be able to hear that and vice versa. So it's about intention. It's about going into it with love and not malice, understanding that we're not trying to screw the other person over.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I always say that though.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get over on you in this.
And
in this
accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for each other. Like the two are becoming one.
Yeah.
So just holding each other accountable for all of
His
those
uncle-
things.
I was about to say the same thing. Like Uncle Terry, he put us
I was
on.
just about to talk about
yeah,
that.
he put us on some two things really. He put us on something when he gave us premarital counseling. The biggest thing that I think we could ever take away is like, yo, y'all on the same team.
I was literally about to say that.
Y'all, I mean, we doing right. We on the we on the
sync.
we on the same team for sure. Like you can't why block a teammate shot?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why steal the ball from your point guard? Like why do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're trying to win together, so don't ever lose sight of that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think we discovered as we grew in our marriages is a lot about cleaning off your mirror. You know what I'm saying? That's how we consider it. Like you can't always see yourself, but with another person, you can take that constructive criticism and use it as Windex and clean off your mirror so you can really see yourself and be like, hey, this is how I look, and now let me present a better version to you because you deserve that.
Yes.
You deserve
Let me
that.
present the version that I truly want to
be.
present.
For sure. Let me look at myself. Let me wipe that off.
Let me see.
Yeah.
That's
That's
big.
important.
That's big.
That's very important.
So let me ask you this then. So, do you guys feel? I mean, you guys have been in this thing called marriage for 6 years now.
Yep.
Do you feel that you guys, not necessarily that you've hit a sweet spot or a peak or strive, but do you feel like you guys have found a groove where it is, there's always work in marriage. We know that.
Right.
But where you guys have hit a groove where you guys understand, hey, we know what the play is, we know how to operate and whatnot.
So we have this thing that we call levels. Like whenever we feel like we in a good spot and it's like we discover something new, we be like, man, we hit a new level. That's just our thing. Like that's what we call it. I just told him coming from Philly last weekend, we were in Philly. When we got home, I said, babe, disappoint. Like, we hit a new level.
Yeah.
And the reason I said that is because typically, y'all know, well, I know Jackie knows, we travel a lot. I love to travel. That's one of my things.
Right.
Anytime we travel, we're gonna argue, like, about something. Like it doesn't matter. Like, something's gonna happen.
Like clockwork.
Yeah, and it's
That's
like,
the devil, though.
yeah.
Come in to hate, man.
Right. So like something happens, and we kind
Yeah.
of bump heads about something. Like, you know, we rock through it and we get back because we on vacation, but something always happens, right? So we're in Philly and we have a tough conversation, but it was a very tough conversation, but we literally were able to navigate this conversation. It didn't turn into like a 30-minute hour period where we ain't really saying nothing to each other, you know, because you have little moments like that.
Yeah.
It literally, we vibed through it. Like, we were able to have a tough conversation. Nothing came of it. He shared what he felt. I shared what I felt. We understood each other, and we moved on. So I said, okay, like, that felt good. You know, I'm like, hold on, what just happened? You know, because what I'm used to did not happen, right? Yeah. So we continued the weekend. So when we came home, it was like the way we communicated over this trip. I mean, we talked about a lot of different things. We were just, y'all, it was literally like just a different experience. And I remember coming home like, look, I think we hit a new level. So what I'll say is I definitely think we're still learning. I never feel like we're at a point where we know it all. Like, I'm always into like figuring out what can I do different, like how can I be better type deal as it relates to our marriage, me being a parent, like all, even at work, us being entrepreneurs, like I'm always trying to figure out like what can we do better. But what I will say is I think we're equipped with a lot of good tools to be able to navigate anything that comes up. You know, we've experienced loss in a sense of like, you know, he's lost a parent. We've dealt with, recently I shared with Jackie, like we just experienced a miscarriage. We've dealt with, you know, navigating like our parents and how to deal with, you know, them kind of, he lost a father. So now, you know, our parents are navigating new relationships, all of that stuff, like, you know, different life experiences. And I know many more are to come, you know, because I always say we're going to live to be 100, God willing. So if we live to be that old, I literally be like, look, baby, we got to live to 100, you know. So prayerfully, if that happens, I'm like, we got a lot of life to live.
Listen, I say the same thing. I say, I want a 2-step.
Yes,
two-step.
Yes.
My 100th birthday.
I tell him all the time, I say, God willing, if we live to be 100, I understand that there's a lot of life to come, right?
Yes.
And a lot of heartbreak, a lot of things. You know, I'm not naive to think that we're untouchable.
Right.
But with that, I think that we understand that we have a good understanding of what life can be. I mean, even just like job changes and all the different things that 6 years, y'all, like it's a very short period when you talk about marriage, but because we're so intentional, I think that we have positioned ourselves to really understand, like, look, we want a lot out of this marriage. Like, this ain't just we not just going day by day. Just I know what I want. You know, like I talk about the life that I want to live, the life that I want to create for our kids, and all that kind of stuff. And I think I work very hard to make those things happen. You know, whatever that may be. He's a great partner. He has a vision. I try to support him. He knows I have a vision. He supports me. So because of what we want out of this marriage and out of life, I'm like, look, we don't have to limit ourselves, right? Like we don't, it's not a time frame, a time limit on stuff. We can do it now. You know, I'm like, we may accomplish in 6 years what it may take somebody else 30 years to accomplish. Like it's no map to how, you know, how you get there. Right. You know, like I'm like, no, like we create our own. And so I think we've set ourselves up to really do a lot in a short period of time. And that's my goal going forward. Like, I don't want to limit ourselves, and I want to get there with, you know, as long as we have each other and God, I feel like it's nothing that we can't do, you know? And so, with that, look, I'm like, keep going.
Yes. No, I love that. I love
That's
that.
real.
I love that.
I was gonna have a follow-up question. I always like to ask people, what you know, being into marriage for X amount of years, what do you know for sure? But she just put that there.
I mean,
so
there's all of the
look, I just jump the gun.
Look. No, but I think that's great though. I can honestly say, I mean, you know, you guys have put in the work. and it's about the intention, about being intentional.
Yep.
And you know, look, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Seriously, I think it's just it's really it's a feel good story, a feel good situation. Understanding that, you know, there are two people who are really serious about this thing.
Yeah.
And don't take it for granted, and don't take it lightly. You know.
Yeah.
So I respect you guys tremendously for that.
Yeah.
I think it's really you know, it's a whole look, man. It's a whole look.
I think the bigger thing though for us though is to see other people doing it, to see people that are aged in this thing, seasoned. You know what I mean? 11 years. That's commendable for us, because we always looking at people that are locked in for real and happy, smiling still. You know what I mean? Got an arm around the chair. That means y'all like each other still. You know what I mean? I love her, but I also want to like her too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen,
this guy. When
I
y'all,
always tell people all the time, I love my wife, but more importantly, I like her.
I like you.
You gotta like the person. Because you can love somebody and can't stand them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's I mean, you know, continue, but that's real though, about the whole love and like, you know.
That's super important. Super.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I think this is a great way to.
Well, not yet. Almost. I got one more.
You got one more?
A couple.
Okay.
One, because I see the shirts that you guys have on.
feel free. We would love to talk about
I want.
Yes, I would need to ask about the shirt. I would love to ask.
talk about the shirt.
I would need to ask about the shirt.
I've been waiting on this vlog all evening.
Let's talk about this. No, seriously.
Kingdom Art Company is our business. Rashae really pushed me. I ain't gonna lie, like, and that's what I appreciate. For you got a talent. You need to do this. Make money. We can do. So Kingdom Art Company is our company, and I refuse to let it slouch. We actually shook on it about a month ago. She told me, if you go hard for a year, I'm gonna go hard for a year. We'll see where it come from. And so we're doing that. Artist Try is the clothing brand. As you can see, we're wearing t-shirts now, and these all represent things that happened in 2022. Kendrick Lamar came out with an album, and it was big on therapy. We want people to see that. Like, therapy is, I feel like this is therapy. You know what I mean? Having conversations with like-minded individuals.
Absolutely.
And we want to push that narrative. Like, try therapy. You know what I mean? And Serena Williams, she retired this year, but on the shirt it says, try taking a swing. If she never even tried, if she believed that Venus was the only,
be here.
Exactly.
Right.
So a lot of people look at the word try like, that's not it. You got to do it, but you actually have to put in effort. That attempt is beautiful.
Yeah.
And seeing the actual work it takes to make a dream come true is beauty, and that's what artistry is. And Artist Try Artistry, that's our brand name. You know what I mean? So we're very proud. We want everybody to support if you can. Go
and
online.
to add, he actually, this is his art, so he drew this stuff.
I love it.
Like, he's an artist.
I need y'all to can you stand up
Look,
and
this is-
come
look.
towards the
Look. Let me. I'll just lift it real quick. Look.
Yeah.
I love it. Get the zoom in.
Yeah, look.
Bow.
Straight up.
But
No,
yeah,
I
so
love
he
it.
hand
Team
drew.
Right Brain.
Yeah, he
Team Right
hand
Brain.
drew
Let's
all
go.
of these designs. So yeah.
There's artwork coming. We have actually I did canvases of these, so we'll be able to show everything. 11/11 is the drop. We want everybody to tune in, and stuff is coming. Like, we're working. I'm sending Travis Kelce a package very soon.
Nice.
So I'm ready to really blow up, and I'm ready to work hard with her. You know, with our kids. Our kids are even excited about it.
Yeah.
My daughter wants to have a lemonade stand in our future studio.
Yes.
My son likes to paint with me, so it's just like I can't let this go.
Cheers to that, man.
Come on,
Yeah, for sure.
y'all.
Yes.
Oh.
I love every single thing about that, man. That's great, man. Listen, man, much continued success with everything that you
Thank
touch.
you.
Everything you
Yes,
touch. Not just
yes,
one thing, but
yes.
everything that you guys touch.
Thank you.
Because you have it on you. It's on you. It is on you. And I see that. So I'm proud to even say that you guys even came on the show. Seriously, I'm proud to have you guys on the show.
Here, y'all. I'm really excited to be here. I literally told Jackie, I'm like, look, when she kind of told me about the idea, we talked in the parking lot one day, and I'm like, look, like, this is meant. You know, like, it was like we had very similar thought processes about, you know, marriage and how we wanted to reach other married couples, you know, and so I just enjoy being in this space. It's something that, you know, Dominique and I have even talked about. We talked about it before coming down here, but just living in this time right now, marriage is one of those things. It's such a touchy topic. You know, everybody has different opinions on relationships and how you're supposed to navigate it and stuff. And so I just appreciate being in this space where we can shed light on healthy successful Black marriages. You
Yes.
know, like they are out here.
Yes.
We are thriving.
Yes.
You know, I'm hoping that a love like that shows them. Yeah, and it's not perfect.
Yeah,
that's what people have to understand. It's not Disney. It's not peaches and cream all the time. It takes work, and I want people to really understand what that work looks like.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of nonsense and yelling and all of that. Like, you can really function. People were surprised to hear when I say we argue, that means that we've had a difference of opinions and we've had this space where we kind of went back and forth, right?
Yeah.
It's very rare that we have to raise our voices and get to the point of, yelling and cussing and all of that. People, I think people imagine just this false sense of what relationships really can look like, and I'm just like, no, it doesn't have to be that. It can be where you can communicate and really resolve issues like what you talked about, conflict resolution and stuff like that. So to wrap it up, I'm just excited to be here, and hopefully people really get good nuggets from this for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. No. We are so honored that you guys came. We were finally able to make this happen. Even from, I tell you, the conception of just the story and just being able to see it. Like I said, I deal with a lot of different situations, a lot of different people, but it's the story behind it and the tension behind it, and just the, hey, you know what, this is what I need to, all of it. People need to see that. Like, I feel like it's we gotta be the people who are really happily married, and really and even just in, hey, we working through some things, but this is the goal, whatever it is, have to speak up. Because when I tell you, the temperature is just so, I've had several people who have said to me, I just don't believe, and I don't have hope in a
real
relationship or a hopeful relationship. It's really gonna be
I mean, I've heard stuff all men cheat. You gonna deal with it. You gonna deal with it. You gotta deal with a man cheating at least a couple times. And I'm just like, no.
I don't subscribe to any of that. I do not subscribe. So when we are so in the minority out here, it's
tough.
It's tough.
Let me say this real quick. You may not remember this. I remember you having a conversation with someone about this. I forgot how it went, but you were talking to one of your friends. You were like, I don't know why why I seem to be the only one who is not dealing with this.
Yeah.
And you were like, your friend was like, what did she say? She said, that's just not your issue.
That's not your issue, because
it's almost like survivors, most likely
it was a time where it seems like you're talking to a lot of different people,
right?
And just from every angle, and it's like, this is the narrative. This is the specific narrative, and these men are out here dogging out these women, and just embarrassing them, and just all of it, and it's like, I'm over here whoa.
Yeah, I'm like,
should I be? I wasn't worried, but all of the stuff going on.
Should I be ready for the other shoe to drop?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get it.
Am I being punked?
Right.
Because I know that's not who he is.
Exactly.
So it will kind of make you question, because the world is running amok out here, and it's like, okay, he's telling me this, we're having clear communication. Let me tell you, I always told my husband, before you cheat on me, tell me.
I say the same thing.
So so she has a shot to work it out.
If you, I tell it, if the thought cross your mind,
that's what I
know. Yes, tell me.
Open communication,
exactly.
So I know, hey, you know what? This is at.
Yeah.
This is at.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was playing earlier today. I promise I was playing earlier today. But I'm like, you know what? Sometimes, honestly, you have to get simple with it. You got to take it back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So if your ass needs to get a marriage report card.
Exactly.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Area. Right.
Then That's what we need to have. We need to be able to have those conversations because
Yep.
I need to be the woman that he needs me to
Yep.
be, as well as he needs to be the man that I need him
Yeah.
to be. Like, we're combining
Real.
this. We have signed up to do not the
Life.
next 2 years of our life.
Yep.
The next 4 years, the next 10
Our
years.
life.
Up to do life.
Yep.
And I don't think enough people kind of like really take that serious.
No.
It's like,
Can I be
I'm
honest with
jump
y'all?
in and jump out.
Please.
I feel like this is just me just talking, so I could be wrong. I feel when it comes to as far as fidelity within either man or woman or whatever the case is. Listen, there's still a possibility that I could go out here and do it. Still.
Right.
There's still a possibility she could
Yeah.
go out here and still do
It's a
it.
possibility.
Because we're not sitting here as if it's just like
Right.
He can't have
she ain't never gonna
Right.
be. I'm not doing that.
Right.
But I will say this though. I think it is easier for me to stay in it for the right reasons because I went after the woman I wanted
Yeah.
instead of me going for the woman I settled for.
Yeah. That's big. That's big.
I think that's what happened. I was like, man, she's been with me she's been with me for 10 plus years. She done helped me down. Or that is that. I feel like I'm stuck. Or she helped me down this long. I might as well go ahead and just marry. It's like that whole.
I
You know
hate
what?
hearing that.
Look, that's right there.
That's a red flag for me. When I hear people say, "Oh, what she held me down," I'm like, what does that mean? Because if you're settling for this because she was with you during rough times when you was broke,
Look,
like no,
you know what that is?
deeper than that.
You know what that is? That is meet me at the altar in your white dress. We ain't getting no younger, so we might as well do this. We might as well do this. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel because when I think when men settle for what they have chosen instead of going for what they really wanted,
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the I guess the tension and the resentment comes into it. And then they're just out here just whatever. That's just what I'm thinking. I can't say that's fact.
I feel that my other thing on that is I refuse to let another gentleman come in and take my spot.
Facts.
Yeah.
The competitiveness is coming back,
Right.
But I mean that, like I want her to want me,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not trying to lose. People lose sight of that and be like, oh, I got her. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody else that is willing to go a step further than you, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't ever get that twisted. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
Just,
And he
Take
means
it for
that.
granted.
like, I really be like, no, there's nobody gonna outstep me when it comes to you.
You want to give you 100 pumps?
I
I'm going to give you
agree.
101 pumps. I'm 101. Maybe 102 on a good day. No, but that's real though.
This is
Well, no, I appreciate you guys for coming on. Well, okay, so listen, shameless plug for us. Okay, so listen, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast.
Please.
Go to iTunes, go to Spotify, go to Google Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube page at It's a Love Like That _. On the YouTube page now. So at It's a Love Like That. No, not It's a Love Like That. No, it's at A Love Like That _. I had it backwards here.
Okay, I'll go with the
Yeah. At
the second one.
A Love Like That _. Our
Underscore.
website is this A Love Like That. But I said we'll be getting that one here in a minute. And then obviously follow us on social media as well. Instagram at It's a Love Like That. No, that's all. I keep on saying It's a Love Like That. I'm tripping. Oh Lord, Brandon, you did radio. You should be better. You should be better. No. You know what it is? No, so our website is It's a Love Like That, and I keep on saying that. But no, follow us on A Love Like That _ on Instagram, on Facebook at A Love Like That LLC. And like I said, sign up for our sign up to get more information on our retreats, on our webinars, on our everything, our workshops, everything that we have there. Okay, like I said, I know for November and for December we're going to be having our premarital courses that we're going to be giving for people who are getting married. So make sure you guys sign up for that as well. Go to our website or go to our Instagram and everything else to get more information on it, etc., etc., etc.
Yes,
I'm Brandon.
I am Jacqueline, and before I know y'all thought we were about to go out, and
I did too.
It's a
start of a partnership because didn't we talk about that?
We talked about this. We did.
Like we
Look, you see my cup ready?
exactly.
Let's get the clink. Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
Yes, for sure.
For having us.
Soon.
Yes.
All right.
Having us.
Well, thank you guys for listening to A Love Like That podcast. Thank you for listening to A Love Like That podcast. Thank you so much. God bless. Peace.